Hi there, my name is Caitlin Bandy and this is my channel BandysBooks, and today Luna and I are here to do a review of the book Daughter In Exile by Bisi Adjapon. This book was recently published on the 31st of January by Harper Via, and I was lucky enough to get an ARC of this. It features a main character named Lola. She's 21. She is from Ghana originally, and she's living in Senegal. She's attending university. She's got a great life. She loves school. She's got a good group of friends. Everything is good. And then she enters into a relationship with an American Marine. She falls head over heels in love and decides that she is going to move to the United States to be with him. She lets her mother in Ghana know about her decision, and her mother is really upset. She tells her, that American men are no good, that, in general, it's just better to marry someone from your own culture. She encourages her to find a nice Ghanaian man. And so Lola, as a young person is like, I know I'm in love, I know this person, and I'm gonna do what I want. And she decides to go ahead and make this move to the United States against her mother's wishes. And what follows is a life unlike anything that I think Lola expected. This book is really emotional, heartbreaking in a lot of ways, full of a lot of depth and just self-discovery and stuff. In some ways, it kind of reminds me of Mame a little bit. Definitely not necessarily in the same struggles, but just kind of that self-reflection, that look at Ghanaian culture. So I thought that was really cool that I read two books in the same month that kind of have that same, a lot of cultural tidbits and cultural notes and things. It was pretty cool because I hadn't read a whole ton about Ghana and Ghanaian culture previously, so I feel like I did get to learn a little bit this month. So that was probably one of my first positive things about this book, is that I really loved the way that this delved into Ghanaian culture. There's segments of the books where you have letters written between Lola and her mother, and there's all these little things that her mother includes in her letters about Ghanaian culture that I would never know otherwise, and I thought it was kind of interesting. You just get little bits and pieces here and there. One of the things that was really well done in this book was the coverage of the US immigration system. So Lola does immigrate to the United States to be with this man that she loves, and it's not as easy or straightforward as she initially anticipates. She finds that the US legal system is full of all of these loopholes, and that immigration is this long and tedious and at times impossible affair. I thought that this portrayal of the immigration system was relatively accurate. Having lived on the border most of my life and having been surrounded by people that had various immigration statuses, I've actually witnessed the immigration process at play in various different forms. So I thought that they captured that frustration, that hopelessness, that anger that comes with being trapped in a system that's broken and not working really, really well. I think that was probably the strongest point of this book. Another positive for this book is that it's really quick paced and action packed. From the moment that we meet Lola, she's head over heels in love, and then from the moment that she makes the decision to leave Senegal to head to the United States, just one thing after another is happening. It keeps you really engaged with the story because it's just boom, 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 boom. You never feel bored, and you're kind of always almost at the edge of your seat, similar to a thriller, because you never know what's going to happen next. I also thought that Lola was a really strong main character. I thought that she was very likable from the get-go, and I think that when we get to see her strength, her capability, her loyalty, all of these wonderful assets that she has, she is immediately made more likable. You can't help but root for her. I really found myself, when reading this book, just cheering her on. I hate when I feel apathetic about a character, and I definitely did not feel apathetic about Lola. I felt very invested in her journey and her getting to the point that she wanted to be at. One aspect of this book that initially made me a bit nervous, but I kind of settled into and enjoyed in the long run, was talk about religion. So religion is a strong theme throughout this book, but it isn't just a singular religion. There's multiple religions that are portrayed. And I thought that the author did a really good job of both showing the goods and the bads of religion. So, for example, Lola's having a moment of struggle, and she reaches out to some Jehovah's Witnesses because her auntie back in Senegal had told her, I have some friends that are Jehovah's Witnesses in New York where you're going, and if you need help, reach out to them and they'll help you. And so these Jehovah Witnesses that are helping her don't even know her. They don't know her aunt. They're not related to her at all. They just do it because they're being kind people. And at other points, she has interactions with Christians, and there's this whole complexity to the religion. At first, I thought it was going to kind of turn into a preachy novel, and that religion and faith and all of that was the core tenement of the book. But as the story progresses, you see that really Lola's seeing religion the same way that she's seeing the United States, and that is in its complexities and its multitudes. It's not just one thing. It's not the American dream only. There's also the American struggle. It's not the good aspects of religion only. There's also corruption and deception and power-hungry people within religion. And so she really starts to see everything in multitudes. And ultimately, I really loved the messaging around family. So Lola is not always what her mom hopes that she would be, not always what her sister ideally hopes she would be. And they also aren't ideally what Lola hopes that they'll be in return. But at the end of the day, the messaging around family and the bonds that are created by being family members, it's just a really, really strong message that family basically overcomes everything. No struggle, no disagreement, no lack of cultural understanding. None of those things ultimately are going to come between the bonds of family. That said, there are a couple things that I did dislike or feel some discomfort towards within this book. That this book, it deals with a lot of really difficult topics and tragedy and sadness. But at a certain point, this almost felt a little bit like it was verging on trauma porn. For me, there is definitely value in exploring difficult subjects, traumatic events, things that are uncomfortable, difficult to observe. I think that feeling deep sadness and anger and frustration and conflict and all of those things are very, very important emotions to explore within books. And obviously, people have really tragic stories. I'm not criticizing that. I think it's partially to do with the pacing of the story combined with the amount of tragedy that happens. But this did feel a little like trauma porn to me, because you start to hit a point within the story where you're like, man, is Lola ever gonna catch a break? Is anything ever gonna go right for her? Is she ever gonna not be struggling, and not just struggling like, oh, she's poor, or she has to work 3 jobs or anything like that. It's like all of this just extremely traumatic stuff that keeps happening to her. And I don't know, it just started towards the end to kind of verge on not quite realistic. And I think I almost started to feel a little compassion fatigue towards the end, which is a horrible thing to say, because she's going through all of these things that should withdraw compassion, but you're so compassionate throughout the story, oh my gosh, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And at a certain point, it's like all of these tragedies kind of start to blur together, and you're just like, ugh, what next? So I think that could have been edited just slightly. I think it might have been a stronger story if 1 or 2 tragedies had been taken out or changed a little bit. I think overall, I get that Lola's supposed to have a tragic story. It just felt excessive at points. And my final critique of this book has to do with the pacing. So I know that I mentioned that I liked the fast pace of this book in the first part of this video, and I did. I thought it was really fast and engaging, and it kept things going pretty well. However, I do think that at times the pacing kind of affected the book. I think, as I mentioned in this previous point, that I was starting to feel compassion fatigue, and I think it's because there's never any space between tragedies. It's just bam, 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 bam. You never really have time to process all of these complex emotions that Lola is feeling, all the complex things that she's going through. I think it just needed to be slowed down slightly, so there was a little bit of space to breathe and process things and kind of prepare yourself for the next bit of the story. I think it just felt like, especially towards the end, maybe it was just rushing to get to that conclusion, and it kind of blurred the last few things that happened to her together. I also felt that the final conclusion of the story felt slightly rushed. I don't want to go into major details, but basically we hit the final conflict point and we get resolution so quickly. We spent this whole entire book going through these conflicts that don't resolve very quickly, and then all of a sudden the thing that is the crux of the story is resolved like this. So to me, it just kind of that threw the pacing off a little bit. I would have expected a bit more exploration and a bit more time to process this major thing that's happening at the end of the story. All in all, though, I do think that this was a very solid book. I'm pretty happy with it. It is, like I said, a very good portrayal of the US immigration system, which is very broken and messed up and complicated. I think Adjapon really captured the hopelessness that immigrants feel being trapped within this system. I also think that she did a great job, like I said, of capturing the multitudes of situations. There are good Americans, there are bad Americans, there are, people in every religion that are good people and bad people. There are people that are out to take advantage of you and people that are there to help you. and she really captures that multitude of people throughout the story. Overall, I did rate this book at about 4 stars. Like I said, I thought it was a very important topic, and I couldn't rate it less when it covered that topic so well. But I do think there's a couple technical aspects that could have made this book a 5-star easily if they had been adjusted a little bit. So that's the end of this review. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button and let me know in the comments down below, what is the most recent publication that you've read this year? And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that way you never miss a video and we can see each other again soon. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.